Hey YouTube family, it's Sarah, also known as Less of Sarah. I apologize I wasn't able to make a video last week. I had to do a course for work in Toronto. I was training all week, and by the time the weekend came, I was done. And I spent most of the weekend in bed watching Netflix. So I wasn't able to make a video, so I apologize. But I'm actually going to do two videos this week. I'm going to film both videos today, but one of the videos is going to be about some really exciting news that I have that I'd like to share with you guys, and sort of share my insights about it based on, I guess, my fat filters. So yeah, we're going to explore that, but unfortunately I really can't make this news public until it's officially official. So and no, I'm not pregnant. Just FYI. It's not that before anyone comments. So yeah, I'm going to make a video about that, and I will publish it at some point this week when things are official. But today's video is going to be a little bit more about my current, or I guess recent, weight loss from my regain, and how I'm sort of dealing with that, and what I experimented with and what I plan on doing, and we'll see how it goes. I used to almost always make notes when I made videos to try and keep things on track, and I haven't lately. So if you're wondering why my videos are a little scattered, it's not just my crazy brain, it's also my lack of notes. So you'll have to excuse me if I jump back and forth on topics. I will say that I did have regain, as you guys know, and as I said before, there was sort of a point at which I was okay with it, and then I was kind of okay with it, and then I got to a point where I was really not okay with it anymore, and I realized I needed to do something about it. I started in January, but I actually didn't start at the beginning of the year. I'm not a big fan of the whole New Year's resolution thing, so I deliberately didn't start at the beginning of the year. I started in around the middle of January. So there's that. It has been, I guess that's what, 5.5 months? Or 5 months? Almost 5.5 months, and I have lost about 35 pounds. My weight keeps like fluctuating by like a couple pounds here and there, but let's say about 35 pounds. And you know, I'm sure the question is it harder now, 4.5 years out from VSG, than it was at the beginning? Yes, it is harder to lose weight, obviously. You're not going to see the results that you did right after surgery. It took me probably 5 weeks, I think, after surgery to lose 30 pounds. Maybe not even. Yeah, I probably had lost 35 pounds in 5 weeks. I remember, I think I lost 30 pounds my first month post-surgery, and I'd already lost 40 pounds before surgery, quite rapidly. So yeah, it's taken me basically 5 months or 5.5 months to do what I did in 5 weeks post-surgery. So yes, that is why everyone will tell you to take advantage of that honeymoon period right after surgery. That's going to be the easiest time for you to lose weight. I know a lot of people say you should get down to your absolute smallest, you know, that you can. I don't necessarily think that's a bad idea. I am still a proponent of working your hardest and giving this adventure the most attention you can during that honeymoon period. Even though my views have changed a little bit about what goals mean and that sort of thing, I still think your goal at the beginning of this journey has to be to lose as much weight as possible, only because it is much harder to lose weight later on. And most people I know who didn't really get close to their goal have still had a big struggle later on trying to get down past the smallest they were, you know, in the first, let's say, 18 months post-surgery. So that's my advice there, is that I know I've said things in the past that might make it seem like I don't believe that you should get to your smallest, or I don't believe you should make a serious commitment, and that's absolutely not the case. In that first 18 months, 2 years, I definitely think that's what you need to do. It's just after that, I think that maybe your goals need to change a little bit. And to be honest, everyone has their own reasons for having the surgery that they had, and if losing as much weight as possible is not yours, that's okay too. So you do you. So now about doing me. I don't think that came out like I meant it, but so yeah, I originally started doing keto, and I was pretty strict about it. And I didn't necessarily see like a huge loss right away, but that wasn't really a problem. I didn't think I would lose a bunch of weight immediately. But my problem with keto was I was having a really hard time. Like, I had hardcore keto flu, and it didn't go away for 3 or 4 weeks. And I still wasn't feeling great doing that really strict keto diet. So I pretty quickly, probably after about 4 or 5 weeks, decided that I was going to modify a little bit, and not do quite as strict a keto sort of plan, and do something that was more just like a high fat, low carb, medium kind of protein sort of deal. So it's keto-esque, but the keto people would get mad at me if I called it keto, so it's not really keto. But for me, I think I mentioned this before, low carb is extremely important if I want to lose weight, and even if I want to maintain, to be honest. That's just me and my body. I was watching 50 Shades of Maintenance, or listening to it in the car the other day on my day to work, on my way to work, and everyone was talking about sort of coming to terms with what WLS means for your life, and that this is a lifelong adventure, and that you have to keep at it. And, you know, I think we all, to some degree, go through an angry phase where we're mad about that. And I think that was part of my regain too, was just a reaction to this very strict lifestyle that I had led for quite a long time. So, I don't know where I was going with that. So something that had to do with that. See, this is the problem. I'm like, who knows? Anyway, yeah, keto. That's what I did. Ish. Oh, I know. Carbs. See, I knew it would come back to me eventually. Carbs. So they were talking about coming to terms with, you know, that this is a lifelong thing, and what works for you may not be what works for everyone else, and you may have restrictions. And for me, carbs is the thing. I really can't eat carbs and expect to lose or even to maintain weight. I know Phil talked about it, and Tanya as well a little bit. For me, carbs are what seem to trigger my hunger. Carbs are what trigger my cravings. Likely, if you read anything on the subject, that is some kind of insulin related issue. Some people call it insulin resistance. Maybe, maybe not, but it is insulin related. And there are ways of dealing with that. Obviously, not eating carbs is one of them. Intermittent fasting is another one. I was doing that for a while. It's a little bit difficult, I think, to fit into my lifestyle, but I've been trying to do it, and it seemed to work well. So I think I want to try and get back to that. I've really been basically experimenting for 5 months. I've been doing little things here and there to see how I can adjust things. So, you know, I've been trying to do intermittent fasting, then I was changing it up with not doing intermittent fasting, and really sticking to just 3 meals a day. Lately, I've tried to do the kind of eat when I'm hungry thing. So if that's twice one day and 4 times the next day, I've tried to just listen to my body. Right now, I'm kind of like, my weight loss seems to go in cycles. So I tend to stay around the same weight for like most of the month, let's say. So I'll be up 2 pounds, down 2 pounds, you know, 3 pounds either way from a certain weight. And then all of a sudden I'll be like down 5 pounds. And then I'll stay that way for about a week or so. And then it'll do the up and down, and then I'll lose a bunch of weight. Tends to be before my cycle starts. I don't know why. That didn't used to happen before, but now it does. So, yeah, so it's hard for me. I do weigh probably twice a week. That's the reason why I don't want to jump on the scale every day, because that up and down thing is just irritating to me. And because the number on the scale is really not what I'm using solely as a measure, I want to make sure I'm only using that just to make sure that I'm on the right track. I'm not actually going by that. So I'm trying to go by, you know, how is my body feeling? How is my hunger? How are my cravings? And that seems to work for me in the sense of kind of regulating my diet. But my plan, I guess, is to stick to as low carb and, you know, high fat, medium protein as I can, at least until my wedding for sure, which is in September. And then after that, I'm thinking I may try to change up the carb portion of it just to add in more vegetables, maybe even a little bit of fruit. Right now, the only carbs I really normally eat is like Greek yogurt and berries. But I'd like to actually add in something like sweet potato, or, you know, I'd like to really go to a more, not a vegetable based diet, but more vegetables in my diet. And that's one of those things where, you know, it may be higher carb, but as long as it's not affecting my hunger or my cravings too much, I would be a lot happier knowing that I'm eating a more balanced diet. And again, it's not a knock on keto or any other way of eating. It's just, for me, I feel like vegetables are a thing. I really like vegetables, most of them. So I actually do crave vegetables. So I'd like to add in more vegetables, maybe a little bit more fruit, maybe some beans and sweet potato, those sorts of things. But, you know, certainly still staying away from refined sugar, staying away from packaged products as much as possible, anything that might have hidden sugars in it. So that's kind of my plan going forward, I guess, until the end of the year. And then, you know, I'll review and see where we're going to go for 2018. I don't really have a weight goal, as I said. My goal at first was just to fit into my wedding dress properly, because I had bought a size smaller than I needed, because I'm that person apparently. And so that was my goal, and that's going really well, thanks to Spanx. No, I mean, I'm totally going to wear a Spanx, but even without Spanx, it still fits good. But again, if I lose a bit more weight before that, that's not a problem. I still have like less than 3 months now. Our wedding is September 15th. But we'll be leaving for Mexico September 11th, so excited about that. So yeah, I mean, I would like to pretend that I have a really super different plan than other people have. I really don't. I really still follow a lot of what I used to do. I try not to snack as much, like I said. I try not to have processed, packaged food as much as possible. Obviously, I can't always do that. My one thing is I have a real sweet tooth to some degree when it comes to certain things, and I still really, really like my fake sugars, my Splenda and whatever. I've considered, don't hold me to this, the idea of trying a 30-day sugar detox. And a 30-day sugar detox also does not include any kind of natural sugars or any kind of artificial sugars. So it literally is pretty much meat and vegetables. It doesn't even include dairy. It's a painful idea to me because I love coffee and I don't like black coffee, and I sure as hell do not like unsweetened coffee. So that would basically mean for me a month of giving up coffee. Which is a lot to ask the people that I have to deal with on a daily basis. So we'll see if that happens. I've thought about it. Again, not on a long-term basis, just as kind of like a reset. So doing that 30-day thing. Or maybe I'll try just doing 2 or 3 weeks and seeing if I can hack it. I like, strangely enough, I like that experimentation process. So that's what I would encourage you guys to do is, you know, when you're early out, when you're in that honeymoon period, do what your surgeon tells you or what your surgical center tells you. Do the plan, because that's what's going to work the best. But after that, especially when it comes to maintenance, you know, do what works for you, and don't be afraid to experiment and try new things, and understand that what works for you might change. You know, your body is constantly changing, your metabolism, your chemistry. So try something new. Who knows? So yeah, I'm going to make a whole other video, which you guys will see at some point soon, hopefully. And have a great week. Love you guys. Bye.